Hey guys, Brad from Team Crimson here with,
Dekin.
Zach.
Javi.
and today we're going to be talking about the May 5th ban list. So today we're going to be talking about the new ban list that's going to be coming out on Tuesday, I believe. So it's Saturday now. We're going to be doing our prediction and stuff for what we think could happen with this possible restrictions and stuff. I did want to address, though, first off the bat, I find it very interesting that they're going to go forward and actually do a restriction list, because there's not a whole lot of tournaments going on now because of everything that's going on in the world. So there's not a lot of data to go off of. So it's very confusing why they're choosing to do this now. But hopefully it's something good. But yeah, I don't know. Let's go ahead and get into the talk, and let's address standard first, because we care more about standard right now. So. What are you guys' thoughts? What do you think's going to happen with the standard list?
Well,
If
in my
anything.
opinion, they could go one of two ways. I could see them doing a restriction on some cards for possibly Narukami or Aquaforce. I don't know how they would do that without crippling the decks. So be a very tricky situation. And I could also see them doing errata with Vanquisher's skill for 3 total bound to being 3 of your opponent's units bound, and Revon not being able to go off until your opponent's at grade 3. Those are like the only 2 things that I see happening, if anything.
Well, I suppose, in my opinion, honestly, for standard, I don't actually think they're going to make any changes. Because as we've seen, there's a lot more decks that are coming out that are becoming meta. They're not taking Narukami and Aquaforce's top 1 and 2 spots, however. If they were to hit something, and I personally do think that they need to hit both Vanquisher and Revon, I think one good way that they could do that is to take away some of Narukami's synergy, because everything in that deck is very it synergizes well with every single card in that deck. So I think that a good way to not necessarily cripple it, but to slow it down slightly would be to possibly make it so you have to only play maybe 2 Jaggy shots per deck. So kind of lower it down and restrict it to only 2 copies max. And then for Aquaforce, probably just make it so Blue Wings cannot be played in the same deck as any card with Revon, because I know Blue Wings are what's used to stop Vanquisher.
Yeah, making those indestructible boards.
Mm-hmm.
The iron being that old school, or not old school, but the last incarnation of Narukami Gauntlet Buster could have still done it. Could have still killed them.
Yeah.
So,
Hell, even Choho can do it.
yeah. So Avi, what are you thinking? Standard.
Well, I agree with both Zach and Deacon, but also disagree. I agree that they could limit Jaggy Shot like how they already limit Choho. But even with that said, being a player for Narukami currently, I see it as it's not that big of a deal, because Zuitan already does the same thing, where at the end of the turn it's going to push in the soul and you're going to plus off. The downside is that Zuitan is not a grade 3.
That's the reason why the deck is so good right now, is because literally you could ride Vanquisher and do that skill, push to soul, you immediately get that ability to go off for the rest of the game. You don't have to re-ride. It's just so much synergy for one deck. It's better than any deck I've seen.
the thing is, you have to have the hand in order to do it, to make it go off. So if your hand doesn't have like either one of Desert Gunner or Demonic Berserker, Chitara, in hand, you really can't perform that multi-attack ability, because they both have to be bound from hand in order to come back on the field. So you're not really negging yourself. You're about even, or you're going plus. Hence why the deck draws so much to begin with.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Is
But-
the deck draws a lot of cards, so I
Yes.
find it very easy to get to some of those grade 3s. I wouldn't know because I have no on-hand experience, though.
But
Yeah.
but the thing is, let's say in theory, they limit Jaggy Shot. They errata Vanquisher, like how Dekin said. If they do that, where it has to be 3 bound cards from your opponent, at that point, the average Narukami player will probably end up tacking in 2 copies of Gauntlet, because that's all you need. You ride that, you sit on it, you plus the power, you plus the crit. There you go. And then at that point, it's going to be almost similar to how God Hand revolves with Novas, where you're going to make it or break it at that point. Because either you're going to force cards out of your opponent's hand, or you're going to deal them a crap ton of damage. Still,
Yeah.
I just know that Vanquisher is better for the Force meta, which is what we are looking at right now.
Yes, because
Gauntlet Buster is more of an Excel meta based card, so I don't know how that would.
Yeah.
I agree, because let's say, for instance, the Narukami player is able to ride grade 3 first, regardless if you're facing Excel, Force, or Protect. You're gonna be able to ride Vanquisher, call the Jaggy Shot, Excel 2, draw, and do your shenanigans, because your opponent's grade 2 base power is either gonna be a 9 or a 10k. So
Yeah.
All right, we're spending a little too much time on Narukami.
But yeah, Aquaforce.
I think a lot of us, are under the agreement that if there are any decks that need to get hit in standard, it would be Narukami and Aquaforce. And there seems to be a slight consensus in the group as well for where it comes to Narukami. If they were going to hit anything, it'd probably be something along the lines of Jaggy Shot, maybe limit it to 2, like Cho-Oh. And then, we know with Aquaforce and stuff like that, the reason why Aquaforce is doing so well is we're seeing at least we're seeing some results and stuff with Blue Wings, because they create that unbreakable board. And against Vanquisher matchups and stuff like that, they can't really do much. And the same goes with Gears as well, of not being able to target their stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, like, Dekin, you think they're going to errata? That's pretty much the route that you're thinking, basically, right?
My thought is, because of how delicate it would be to rip Jaggy Shot down to a 2 of and hurt the deck by changing the way that it's built and the different play styles, I think it'd be easier to do the 3, because that is a majority of the reason why it's so good, is because they can first ride hit the 3.
Even when you're talking about Aquaforce, though, too, like you had mentioned about Last Card Revon about possibly errating. So, like, the route I'm trying to clarify that the route that you're trying to go, that you think that they're going to go, is errata, both Vanquisher and Revon.
Yeah,
that's kind of where you're thinking.
Yeah, I think that just because it would slow the decks down a bit and prevent them from immediately going off regardless of what deck they're facing. It would slow it down just a little bit, which is, I think, what we all can agree the decks need is to be a little slower.
Slightly,
and then Javi, you're kind of thinking, what were you thinking? You are more going into more of a defensive Narukami, which completely understand. But what are you thinking, though, for the actual list. Do you think that they will actually do something to either of these two clans or anything else in general?
Honestly, I believe they might. There's always the strong possibility that they won't. I mean, if you think about Standard, these decks came out not that long ago. They're still fairly new, quote unquote. So it's pretty much tossed up a 50-50. They may or may not.
So you're all over the place.
Yes. But I do know that if they do decide to target Aquaforce, they might actually do what Dekin believes is going to happen. Make last card Revon not be able to be mixed in a deck build with Blue Wings. Blue Wings. Wrong game. Anyways, with Blue Wings. And if they don't, they might actually errata the grade 2 and grade 1s for Blue Wings that actually make it able for the Aquaforce player to actually keep their unbreakable board, because it gives their board a sense of a new style of resist. Can't target, you can't retire, and all their effects are based off if you get a heal. If not, and then their secondary effects will follow suit. And obviously with last card Revon, you're able to give him plus 15k and triple drive. So it's like, what do you do? Because it's
okay, I see what you're saying. And I think I'm saving Zach for last here, because I think me and Zach are a little bit more on agreement of what we think is going to happen. Zach clarified for me, but it's kind of my thinking is I kind of don't think that they're going to do anything first and foremost. But if they did something, then I could see something like Jaggy Shot going down to a 2 and maybe making Blue Wings not being able to be used in Revon, where you have a 4 copies of Revon or something like that. It's like a choice restrict is what they call it. So that's kind of where your thinking's at too?
Well, yeah, definitely. Because as you and I talked about the situation, I feel like you can't really hit one and not hit the other, because they both they almost feed off of the other. How they play currently, they almost feed off the other.
Yeah.
Like Aquaforce, the way that it's built with Blue Wings, needs Narukami in order for that to be that main build. And then if Narukami is subjected to the restriction, they should go down, but Aquaforce could then go up. So I feel like they both need to go down. Just like
that. So you can't hit one without hitting the other kind of thing.
All right. Can I say something though?
Yeah.
All right. With that all said, it could be into a situation of what they did to Gold Paladins. They'll restrict a card, and then it turns out that it doesn't matter. The deck is still capable of doing what it's supposed to do, what it's designed to do. It could be in a situation like that.
That's always the danger I guess they pose anytime they introduce something like this. They try to introduce a new ban list. It could change absolutely nothing. We've seen them do that before. You're right. With Premium, with Gold Paladins, the restriction stuff didn't matter. Actually, didn't.
Same thing.
They wanted it to be.
Same thing with Cho and Standard. It did absolutely nothing.
They're still pretty damn good.
Yeah,
but
it's probably due to consistency.
What deck was that back in the day? It was I can't think of it. It was during G, and it was an Aquaforce deck, I believe. Ripples, yes, thank you, Javi. Yes, Ripples back in the day. They made a ban list. They banned something. I can't remember what it was. Didn't do nothing. Ripples won again later. They're on at Worlds next year.
It's probably
So,
just that they wanted to limit the consistency of the decks. That makes sense. It's just sometimes what they hit doesn't necessarily matter because it still runs pretty consistently. Which, I mean, again, if they do limit Cholo the Jaggy Shot, it could still do the exact same that it's going to do right now. It could do literally nothing, but it's better than doing absolutely nothing and hitting nothing.
yes, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, so basically, we're all under the agreement with standard, what we think is going to happen, or possibly nothing, and if so, those are our thoughts of what could get hit. So let's move on to premium, because premium is the one that probably should get stuff that gets restricted.
The game right now is currently first stride kill. That's the game.
Most has been for a while.
There are instances where you can survive their first stride kill and then kill them with your first stride kill or whatever. But mainly from what we've noticed, from what these decks are capable of that are actually meta, it's because they have one stride unit that allows them to first stride kill you, and they have a grade 2 game, because that's very important right now.
Yeah, a lot of decks are playing higher grade 2 counts or whatever, just even ones that, decks that can't superior call or whatever actually gain a field advantage. Decks are playing higher grade 2 counts just to grade 2 stall if they have to, kind of thing.
Yeah, fight for the first stride so you can win.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what can fix premium right now? Because what the top dogs right now are, I mean, Katrina's been a presence for a while.
Yeah, Katrina, DI, they both have an equal number of tops, 1 to 2 every tournament. Then there's Bermuda with at least 1 every tournament, and there's Kagero with at least 1 to 2 every tournament. And then there's free floaters like Luard that pop in every now and again. There's been Great Nature, but mainly the top 4 would be Kagero, Bermuda, DI, and Katrina. Ezel's tops have severely lessened after the consistency hit, but it's also because people aren't playing it as much anymore.
I don't think. Yeah, I mean, from the tops that we've been seeing and stuff like that, I don't think Kagero needs to get hit. Sorry. I know that.
No.
Kagero,
I don't Kagero keeps some of the top dogs in check.
This might be a controversial one in the group too, but again, from the results that we've been seeing and stuff like that, I don't think Bermudas deserve to get hit.
I completely agree, just because the deck is ridiculous, but it needs you to hit them. It needs you to give them at least 2 counterblasts to be able to kill you while you're on grade 1.
There's play around.
There is severe play around.
There's some leeway.
Yeah, and the topping that it has is not nearly as much as some of the other decks, and there's not nearly as much representation as a lot of the other decks.
Knowing between the two clans, Bermuda having a restanding Vanguard and being Force, and Kagero having a restanding Vanguard and also being Force, knowing that Kagero's cost is heavier and has less drive checks, and Bermuda's cost is basically free because of how their deck mechanic is. Not because it's Force, but their deck mechanic, they could easily plus off it.
Yeah, they plus hard.
Yeah.
Whereas Kagero's always been kind of neg in order to do what you're supposed to do, or break even.
It's kind of like Kagero's deck mechanic retire is a joke.
As of right now,
Yes.
Overlord's the restand. That's it.
Yeah.
We're not here to diss on my clan, guys.
I'm not dissing.
I'm not. I'm just saying that Bushi needs to fix it because it's just like in G. You got Kagero and you got Narukami. What happened? They had Titan. They had Blaze. Blaze was a joke. And then here comes Narukami with Bind. And it blew up.
We're not getting into this conversation. We're talking ban list.
Yeah.
Katrina and DI.
I actually don't know if they will hit Katrina, only because of the the new premium collection. I think it might be a preemptive strike towards a choice restriction on Katrina and the new Kreia Elemental. Because if you have those two in a deck, then Neos becomes the best deck. Like there's no arguing that, because their plant tokens gain massive buffs, and they have an amazing first stride and an amazing grade 2 game. I think it was more going to be a preemptive strike on a choice restriction between those two. And in my opinion, I think they might hit DI a little hard because they have a set coming up.
Yes.
And that's the only thing I think that they might do towards those two decks.
Maybe.
And I don't know, but I feel like they're not going to kill Katrina. I've wanted them to since the damn card came out, but
kind of like TT. Everyone was fearing the deer. The deer plus a crit for no reason.
Well, I mean, as we saw last year, they came out with a ban list right before the premium collection dropped, and it just outright banned the Itchy Stride. Like, they didn't even let it hit play because of how toxic it was. And then they restricted a few. I think it was like a week after they restricted like Assassin and a few other cards. But I think if they did hit DI, they would either completely cripple the deck or make Gastille a one of, because of the possible support they're going to get.
I would say choice restriction between Gastille and NLK. That's it. Make it so you cannot play NLK with Gastille anymore, because that is the
only thing that makes that combo ridiculously good is Assassin, because it lets them do it multiple times. So they can restand their Vanguard with the Stride skill off of NLK, and then they couldn't do it anymore if they didn't have Assassin. So, like, I feel like hitting Assassin might be the better move, or restricting Gastille to a one of, so they have to decide when they're going to stride into it. But I do completely agree. If they don't do that, then they could totally just murder those two being in the same deck. Because it's been around since the start of Premium. It had the loop at the start, and then it slowly died off a little bit, just to people be like, oh, I found this build. And then forever it's been topping.
And it creeps back. Yeah, it creeps back. Yep. All right, so we're basically in agreement for DI. Yeah. I do think they need to hit Katrina. I think they need to hit Katrina. Like, Katrina is a problem. Especially with I don't know. I think Katrina and DI both deserve to get hit. Katrina's I'm agreeing with what you guys are saying too about DI. With Katrina, it's difficult because I don't know Neos very well. I don't know quite what has to get hit in order to still have Neos be competitively viable, but not make them as busted as they are right now.
Yeah, the only thing that could do that is banning Katrina outright, just banning her, because that's their kill, because they create tokens for free with almost every card. But the new premium collection Stride works with the Asha stuff, so they could totally ban Katrina. But I think they might go more towards the choice restriction one.
Okay, Zach, what were you saying?
Well, what I was gonna say was you could possibly hit. I know there's a grade 2 that you just you write it or call it, and it just free calls one token for no cost. Maybe possibly hit that. I don't know if they're coming out with any new ones that do something similar, but I know Gladiolus is another really strong card that they use that allows them to call another token or another unit. I don't remember if it's token or not, but call or stand another unit, so then they can further their multi-attack.
Yeah, they totally could hit Gladiolus, but the problem is they still have 5 30k plus attacks without that. And if you hit the token generator, they're just going to play a new one that requires a cost. That's the only difference between it.
That's better than nothing, though. It's better than having no cost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess. It wouldn't do nearly as much as they would hope.
True. Hitting
the token generator, but Brad, your thoughts on that?
I think that's about it that I have.
No, I completely agree. I'd rather have them pay a cost for something than get it for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then there's a play around.
Javi, raising your hand. What do you want? What's up?
Let me speak.
I got 99 problems, but Katrina is one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Javi.
Yeah, I
Summed it up right there.
don't know what all else they would hit from Premium Collection. We haven't seen, or not from Premium Collection, for Premium, we haven't seen the Premium Collection Shadow Paladin Stride, so we don't know if they would hit and kill Morfessa or not.
Mhm.
I mean, if it's ridiculously good, the new Shadow Stride, I fully expect Morfessa to just die. But I mean, it's also bushy and they love shadows, so I'm not complaining about that. But
Maybe they could.
Every Shadow Paladin player, give me. I give you money.
it's a cost. Oh,
Maybe they could.
What's the cost?
Maybe they could take away some of the restrictions that are currently active, like for what is it, OTT's card. I doubt that'll. I think that'll hurt, but
no,
they could do
that
it.
doesn't need to come back. That's a no guard turn 2 turns in a row. Like you physically can't
that is
guard
very
2
true.
turns in a row.
But all I'm saying basically by even mentioning that is that anything that's currently banned now, they could possibly unban due to what is possibly coming out next.
Do we think that there's anything that's currently banned that should come back though?
By Cholo?
True. No.
No.
This is true.
I never had a chance.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think so, but I mean, then again, you never really know, do you?
Yeah. I mean,
That's very true.
There's the oh, Javi, pause. It's okay. Oh, he's back. Well,
that's okay. We gotta cut this. We gotta cut this now. But let's finish your thought.
Well, they could bring the Angel Feather stand trigger back, the one that does the rescue checks, just because Angels don't really have much in Premium aside from Gize to try to revive the deck that has some different play other than Gize, but I don't know because I wasn't around during that time, so I don't know how toxic that was.
I was around when Angels were a problem. It was not fun. I don't know how it would do now. I will say that. I don't know how it would do now, but based off of my memory and how it worked back then, I don't want it to happen. I want it to stay gone.
Yeah, no, I have no idea. It was just one of the cards that I knew was banned.
It's right, Repros, that stand trigger.
The stand trigger,
no,
yeah.
I hate that card.
Yeah, no, I don't think they would bring Ichi back because A, there was a bunch of players that rioted about it, and then B, it's 2 to 3 turns back to back where you can't guard at all. You're just eating attacks, and there's no play around for that aside from healing.
That's true. That's true. I mean, other than that, that's about all the thoughts that I have. So.
All right.
Yeah, that's all that I figured could happen is them choice restricting Katrina and the new Stride, possibly choice restricting something else for the Premium Collection based on what they have in mind for future support for some of these cards, and then definitely DI need to get hit. I don't know if they would hit Gastile and the NOK, just Gastile, or just outright ban Assassin. I don't know how they would go about hitting that.
Yeah. All right. So, I think that's about it. That's our thoughts on what could possibly be on the ban list for standard and for premium. So we'll actually come out with a video again on Tuesday when they actually reveal the stuff, and we can talk about it a little bit more then. But no, this was kind of nice having Team Crimson together again, even if it's just virtually. So
yeah.
But that's it from us, guys. Please like and subscribe. Let us know your comments let us know in the comment section below what your thoughts are on this ban list as well. And then stay tuned. We'll be having more videos later in the week. See ya.